They're anticipating that by the time our boys are ready to have kids, that there's going to be a huge wave of infertility because of the foods, the pesticides, the chemicals. So 6 months. So yeah, then we got pregnant. Here we are, but I miscarried at 9 weeks. So
was that your first miscarriage?
My first miscarriage.
Any woman that's listening to this right now who's going through that, what is one thing you want to tell her to just encourage her to stick it out? Welcome back to Might Get Loud with Brittany Racine. Today we're going to be talking about one of the biggest challenges that so many people are facing today, because we're going to be talking about the gut-wrenching journey of infertility and IVF. My guest, Jessica Glahn, a wife, mom, and total open book, is walking us through her deeply personal experience with infertility, miscarriage, and ultimately making a baby with the help of modern medicine and a whole lot of persistence. We are talking about scheduled sex, the hormone injections, the heartbreak, and yes, of course, the happy endings. So Jessica, thanks so much for sitting down with me today and opening up about the emotional roller coaster of infertility and IVF that, so many women and couples are on that roller coaster right now. So I'm so appreciative that you are going to be a voice for them to be seen and supported and just kind of give them some answers and insight from your experience.
Thanks for having me. It's a lot of pressure for all of the women, but
yeah,
definitely I'm an open book.
So was infertility, IVF, any of that ever a thought on your mind before you had kids? Did anybody in your family have it? So it kind of was something that you were like, ooh, that might affect me one day, or was it something that you just never thought about until you had to?
So, interestingly enough, we had our 5-year-old we thought the word pregnancy and got pregnant that day. Mm-hmm. But I have close friends that have gone through infertility. So following their journey, I kind of knew a little bit about it, but I never thought that it was something that was going to affect me. I had Barrett, and we didn't have any single issue. There was, I had easy pregnancy, easy delivery. Yeah, we thought, great, no big deal.
We don't have to go through that.
Yes, but I kind of followed, again, a couple of my friends and, family through it. So, I knew a little bit about it, but I thought my thought process was different because it wasn't me.
Right,
so,
and you already had a baby.
And I already had a baby.
Right, so how old was Barrett when you decided that you wanted to get pregnant again?
So Barrett
was 2 or 3?
He was 2.5. Okay. And, it was COVID, and we, kind of same thing. We're like, why don't we try again? I thought the same thing. I'm just gonna, blink and be pregnant tomorrow.
Right,
but 1 month went on. So and then another month, and then another month. So I think at that point it had been a few months, and they don't consider it infertility until you are tracking your cycle. So tracking ovulation, having regular periods for 12 months. So then they can, as far as traditional medicine, then considers it sort of infertility, go see a specialist, get a workup.
So you have to have 12 months of recording it.
Yes, and it's actively trying. So not oh yeah, let's just try to get pregnant, but tracking your cycles, tracking your ovulation.
Being mega intentional about.
Yes.
Okay.
And you don't have to. That's traditional medicine, what they say. You obviously can do whatever you want. Mm-hmm. But so I think at the 3-month mark, I was starting to get disappointed at that time. It was still kind of fun and yeah, let's do it. We're still trying to have a baby, but I wasn't super disappointed until the 3rd month, and I was like, okay, what?
This is frustrating.
Yeah, what is going on? So I think I went and saw our doctor just for a regular checkup. So I basically looked at a calendar. My cycles are typically these days, so I should be ovulating these days. So I bought the little kits, and I was peeing on them every morning, and then it would tell you you have a 24 48 hour fertile window, and then that's when you're supposed to have sex, and it's the ideal time to get pregnant. So I did that for another 3 months. And then,
was it regular, or when you started tracking it, were you like, whoa, this is all over the place?
No, it was regular. It was regular, yeah. And I feel you can, once you do it a month, I feel it might take you a month or two to sort of optimize your cycle. So you kind of know when you should start tracking. Mm-hmm. So we got pregnant after 6 months of trying. So it was kind of whew, okay, we're pregnant. That was kind of annoying.
Right. That was frustrating and took a minute.
I still didn't think anything infertility. I thought this is just
taking longer.
Yeah, just taking longer. I'm a mom, I'm busy. I'm not quite where I was when we got pregnant with Barrett, as far as my health and my diet and my exercise and whatever, I don't know. I didn't think much about it.
Well, you're I'm a little bit older.
Yeah, I'm a little bit older.
My body just got pregnant
different.
and got unpregnant.
Yeah.
So it's
and again, it was 6 months, and I feel it's a month is a short cycle, so you kind of whatever, you're resetting every month, but we're busy, we're doing stuff. I do feel it started to take some of the fun out of it at the end, and I think that's one thing that I feel you see on social media or on movies and stuff, where takes the fun out of like having sex and trying to have a baby or however you want to like,
because it's like a
look at
job.
that. It's a job. Like one time Matt was sick or like he was traveling or whatever. And I'm like, I don't care.
Sorry.
We have to do it right now. For the men, I think that put like a little bit of pressure because I was like, well, you have to like perform like a you know, like now.
Yeah.
But also it's not a hard job if you ask me. Like
for them,
get it.
But
get
then
it
you're
done.
also like, I don't know who is affecting it. Like it could be me, but then like he's taking he's taking a lot of pressure when it could have been you. Do you know what I mean? So it's like there's so much unknown and just like frustration because you can't control it, and it's like not doing what you want it to do.
And we were pregnant before, so it was kind of like, you know, I don't know, I don't think at that point it was like, is it a me or you issue? It was just, I thought at that time it was like a timing issue. Like,
so you said it took 6 months.
So 6 months. So yeah, then we got pregnant. Here we are, you know, I must just tracking my cycle, like that seemed to work, but I miscarried at 9 weeks. So
was that your first miscarriage?
My first miscarriage. And again, I had friends that have gone through it.
Right.
But it's so different when it's you. And I knew right away. We were up north with friends, which that was definitely not ideal. So we were super far away from the doctor. I did call. I was bleeding a lot.
Yeah.
And then I was cramping, like not like, obviously you've had kids, so not quite like labor cramps, but like the worst period, like, and then some. Yeah. So I was having these horrible cramps, and then I was bleeding like a ton. And so I knew, I just, like, there was no question.
Right. And you know your body to a degree, like, okay, this did not happen last time.
Yeah, it didn't happen last time. Well, and
That's
again,
so
it like got
frustrating,
significantly worse too. We were up north, and I was like, ooh, like this is kind of weird, but, and so I kind of was like, oh, maybe a bee.
Aren't you guys bee freaked out?
I'm a little bee freaked out.
I feel like you guys are always like, oh my god, a bee! And you like freak out. That's like
pretty cool.
I'm fine with a bee.
Okay, sting Brittany. Like,
wait, weren't you with my brother?
Yeah.
At least you were with people that you know and you're like comfortable.
Yeah, I know. I straight up. It wasn't like I was trying to be like discreet. I basically
like you're like at a wedding with a bunch of people you don't know or something like that.
I called the doctor and they kind of were like, you can come in and we can confirm it. You know, we can do an ultrasound, we can do blood work. And I'm like, I'm hours away. I don't want to go to like the, you know, whatever hillbilly hospital up north and sit there all night. And I knew. I'm like, I know this is happening.
But just like the emotional toll of it too.
Oh, I was super upset.
I'm sure it's just really like absolutely devastating. I am so lucky that I never had a miscarriage. Like I've only been pregnant twice and had both.
But yeah.
But I mean, I feel like I hear people all the time and it's like, God, that's got to be so heartbreaking.
It was an early, I guess, miscarriage or first trimester miscarriage. So I didn't have like a name assigned. We didn't know if it was a boy or girl. So I feel like it happened early enough, and it happened on its own. Like looking in hindsight, it happened on its own. I didn't go to the doctor and have them say like, there's no heartbeat, you're going to have a miscarriage. Yeah. And like this impending doom where, you know, I had a friend who had a miscarriage like that. They went in, there was no heartbeat. They could clearly see like, you know, there was a, you know, an embryo or a sac or whatever, you know, you can get medical with it. But, there was no heartbeat, so it was basically like, you are going to have a miscarriage, and one of three things may happen. You may have it spontaneously. It might just happen on its own. I don't know when. 2, you can take medication to help your body
like
flush it out.
Right.
Or you can have a DNC. So you go in, you go under sedation, and they like basically clean everything out, which, you know, that can come with risks too.
Right. So you're like, I was fortunate enough to not have to have them tell me that news.
And it happened on its own, because it's like, not only did you lose your baby, you're so sad.
Well, yeah, and you went to the doctor to get an ultrasound, and then they're like, oh.
Yes. So you're
like,
devastated.
You're all excited to go see. That's so devastating. I mean, any situation is devastating.
But then it's like impending doom. So I do, in hindsight, it obviously didn't feel good then, but in hindsight, I'm like, thank God it just happened. I didn't have to make any decisions. And most of the time, you know, and there's statistics out there, I don't know them anymore. I probably did when it happened, but most of the time, early miscarriage or first trimester miscarriage is from like a genetic anomaly. Like that baby wasn't, my body knew that baby probably wasn't going to survive. Something was wrong, probably with, you know,
so typically, most early trimester, it's not necessarily a genetic thing where it's like, oh, my mom had a bunch, so I have a bunch. It could be that the baby's just not healthy.
Like chromosomally, So it could just be like a chromosomal issue.
That's kind of a good peace of mind, though.
Yeah, so it was kind of a thing too, right? That did give me some peace. Like, there was nothing I could have done.
So did you only have one miscarriage then?
One miscarriage. So after that, I did go into the office. You know, my doctor had me come in. She did an ultrasound. Yeah, you know, there's nothing there. My doctor was like, you know, actually, women after miscarriage, your hormones are still like, you know, your pregnancy hormones are still there. Yeah, it's a good time. So a lot of women tend to get pregnant pretty quickly after a miscarriage. So I was feeling like pretty good. I'm a very like
optimistic.
Yes. And I like the problem solve. So, you know, like what's the next step? So I really held on to that. Like, okay, we are probably super fertile. We're going to get pregnant right away. Yeah. Go for it. So I started tracking my cycles again, and then the pressure was really on because, Matt, I'm like, we were just pregnant, so we know we can do it. You know, I think, too, the biggest thing that I was so upset about was this, I was going to have this giant age gap from Barrett and our next baby, which that was really upsetting to me, too. I had this idea in my head.
That they were going to be close in age?
Yeah, and just, you know, again, we made plans, and I had made plans, you know, and I just really wanted that.
I think that's hard for, like, a lot of moms too, because it's like there's never the right time to get pregnant. It never works out how you plan.
Yes,
but it's the same with your kid though too, because it's like, oh well, I'm gonna give my kid this, and I'm gonna discipline my kid this way, and then it's like it never goes according to plan.
No, and
I think that's a hard reality.
You were someone too who were like, your kids are gonna love each other. It doesn't matter if they're 15 years apart or 2 years apart.
Well,
or
and your
5
brother's
minutes apart.
Way younger than you.
Yes, yeah. So my brother and I have an 18-year age gap. Yeah, and he's like he's our bestie. I mean, he's like totally keeping us cool right now. But then also on the back end of that, here's my mom who was like, I was 45 when I got pregnant, you know, like, what's your problem, you know, like in a nice way. But she, you know, my mom was like, you know, like I never, you know, I didn't have any issue with this. And like, what do you mean? And I mean, obviously our family, they were devastated for me too.
Right.
But in the background, my mom was just kind of like,
I don't know how to help you. I don't even know how to support you because I haven't had,
No, and that's like, even at 45, you know, when you're supposed to be higher risk or whatever, you know, she had this like, you know, super healthy, perfect baby
you're supposed to be dried up and
yeah. I feel like a lot of people were getting pregnant at the time that I was
and you like felt like left out.
So that was hard too.
Like, what's happening?
Yeah, I felt like I still felt good for a while, but I definitely took myself out of the situation too. I definitely skipped a couple baby showers. Like I just mentally was like, I love you. I'm going to send a gift. I want to celebrate you. I want to meet your baby. But like right now, I can't do it.
Yeah.
I'm going to come and I'm going to be like sobbing in the corner.
And you're like, it's not anything that you,
No.
like, I don't want you to feel bad about it. And like.
And I'm happy for you. I'm super happy for you, but I'm also really sad for me. And it wasn't like a overwhelming
thing, yeah.
No, I wasn't jealous, and it wasn't like this overwhelming sadness. It just kind of came in waves, and I was nervous that like I didn't want to take away from them either. I'm like, I don't want to come to your shower and then have people be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And,
yeah.
And then again, the pressure was really on for Matt because I wanted it so bad. So this was when like people tell you like, oh yeah, like that's not fun to try to have a baby. It was like not a good time.
Yeah.
Matt at one point was like, can you just not tell me you're ovulating? Because when I know, it's the pressure. Like, it's just pressure. He's like, I don't
please
know.
wear a costume and get super excited and just like show up in my office.
Yeah, but I'm like, won't you know? Like you're putting in a lot of work right now. What's going on?
Yeah, but you're like, that's a lot of work. I got to be all excited every time.
That pissed me off. Yeah, that pissed me off because I'm like, well, here I am, like peeing on the stick. I'm the one that just went through this horrible experience.
Physically, yeah.
And like all you have to do is show up and like have a good time. And it was just those like whatever that like window was just like we were both in a bad mood.
It was hard.
And it was hard. It was. The rest of the month was fine. Like things were good. We were fine. And then I wanted to like they say it doesn't matter if you like lay in a position or like stay flat or
put
your legs up.
I
was like, yeah, just leave me alone. I'm just gonna like prop some pillows up here and like put my legs up and like I'm not gonna move for a minute.
Yeah.
And I think my doctor said actually people like there's better rates if you get up and go to the bathroom or you walk around or whatever.
Go to the bathroom?
Yeah, basically just get up and move around. And actually one was orgasm. Orgasm tended to help with moving like
afterwards?
up the vaginal canal. Mm-hmm. Like there was like a certain
There's
time
got to
frame.
be some old wives'
There
tales.
is. Oh yeah, so you could Google it. I don't remember the statistics, but my doctor was basically like, so I don't know if Matt and I were in the office together, but she was, I think we were. I think she looked at Matt like, well, actually, like, yeah, or, I don't.
Your job is not over.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, yes, yeah. And obviously, Matt's great all the time, anyways. But it was like within 30 minutes, or there was a time frame where I was like, okay. So, but again, it was like math and positioning, and we were just so hyper focused on it that it was super stressful. So we did that for 5 months. And again, every month now I'm devastated. I just am sad. I want a baby.
Right.
I want to be pregnant. My friends, my family are starting to get pregnant again.
Well, then you feel like you're behind schedule.
Yes, and again, this age gap. Every month that our kids were like further apart, I was really having a hard time with that too because it didn't like fit my plan.
Well, and I think the kids grow so quickly at that age.
Yeah,
I think there's like if it's between like 7 and 9, like you're like, okay, whatever, there's a kid.
Yeah.
But from like 0 to 5, it's like
every day
100 years. Yeah.
So around, I don't know when, I went in again in between those 5 months, and I think I might have messaged my doctor like, listen, I think something's going on. I just am like tired all the time and fatigued. I just don't feel like myself. Can we do some blood work? So, my doctor's like, sure. So she checked a bunch of stuff.
There's so much involved.
There's so much. It's like
Isn't
very
it crazy
science,
how like some people that don't even want a kid like accidentally get pregnant?
Yes, we literally, even Matt,
it's like, how is your science so aligned on that
today, or again with my mom, you know? So Matt, even today would be like, it is literally like the people who accidentally get pregnant, like amazing. Like just like, wow. Yeah, especially with this, it's like how? So my blood work all came back normal. There's zero doubt in my mind that this is a infertility issue. You're young, you're healthy, you were just pregnant, keep trying. And she was like, have you considered that you maybe are depressed?
Really?
And I was like, what? Me? Like, I was so hyper-focused on everything that I think I kind of just skipped over that. And I think
you're like, I didn't think that was even a factor to be considered.
No, I didn't. And I was kind of like, well, now that you mention it, I really was hyper-focused on it, and I think I ignored a lot of, like, the sadness from the miscarriage. I'm more of a, like, suffer in silence type of person anyways. Like, I don't like to talk about my feelings. And so it wasn't until she said that I was like, oh, like maybe that's affecting, you know, our fertility. I had so many friends, you know, who meant well, but like, maybe if you just relax, maybe if you just take some time off from tracking your cycle, maybe if you just, you know, go on vacation.
Like, how?
Go on vacation. Yeah. But yeah, I was so hyper-focused on it, there was no way for me to, like, there was no chill.
But then it's also like, okay, so I'm supposed to chill for this reason, so I'm trying to relax.
Yeah.
But I'm still focused on that because, like, that's why I'm relaxing.
Because exactly. No, it was, yeah. I started going to the space in Brighton and doing hot yoga.
Yeah.
And have you been there?
No.
Have you gone? So it's like...
But everybody I know goes.
Oh, I love it. You should go. So it's half, like, HIIT hot yoga, all mixed in, half like meditation. There's a message for every class. So I found hot yoga around then, and I started going, and I would go and just like sob the whole class because they would be like focused on something you're applying it to your own life. And I felt like finally having somewhere where I could have this like emotional release, it really helped. You've got to find something for you because it does really just suck you under. Like, I really didn't realize how hyper-focused I was. And,
well, you're like drowning in it.
Yes, I was. And looking back now, I think it's a lot easier to talk about because
so many people are dealing with it.
So many people are dealing with it, but we did it and it worked. So, like, we did, obviously, I know, you know, we ended up doing the IVF and it worked. So I think, like, in hindsight, looking back now, like, I felt like I was so in the thick of it, I couldn't relax.
It's probably a lot harder to talk about it during it because you don't see the end result.
No.
You don't see where you end up. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't know. Yeah.
So wait, when did the doctor say, hey, let's try IVF?
So my doctor again said everything looked good. So we tried for 5 months, and then finally my doctor was like, you know what, why don't we check Matt? Like, let's check Matt's sperm. We already kind of checked you. I think I might have had an ultrasound in there too. So she kind of did a little bit of a preliminary fertility workup.
To like make sure you guys are both capable.
Yeah, just like that everything still looks good. That during the past couple years nothing changed. So everything with me looked good. So she kind of was like, well, why don't we let's check Matt's sperm and let's just make sure everything looks good. And I think Matt and I had the conversation, and again, we've had friends that have been through it who are like, don't do that with your regular doctor. Just go get the workup from the infertility doctor, the fertility specialist. But if something's wrong, then you can come up with a plan, you know. And I'm like, okay, let's do the next steps. I made an appointment for the fertility clinic.
Yeah.
So I went there, and
which one did you go to?
Dr. Gago in Brighton. She's kind of all over, but she was great. She obviously at work she got us pregnant, so I would 100% go again. I went in there and had my initial appointment, and they right off the bat, like, I brought all my blood work and I brought my ultrasound results, and they right off the bat were like, these are not normal for a woman of your age. Like, yes, they fall all my blood work.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So they were like, for a woman maybe like in her 40s or her 50s, like maybe this blood work looks a little bit better for them, but straight up they were like,
not
for a woman your age who is of, you know, who should be able to get pregnant or whatever. But they were like, we think you have PCOS. And I was like, what? How would I have PCOS? I don't.
And you're like, I've gone to the doctor 94 times this year.
And we had a baby. Yeah, I've been to the doctor 100, you know.
Like, how did they not catch this?
For me at least, I thought PCOS too. Like, kind of, there's a PCOS picture, you know, typically.
I feel like I don't even really, is that like, it's not endometriosis.
It's kind of like an umbrella term for, it's polycystic ovarian syndrome. It causes issues with ovulation and like your cycle. So some women with PCOS like don't have a period. They're having issues ovulating. So I'm like, well, I don't quite have those issues. I'm having a period. I'm checking my ovulation. Like, clearly I'm ovulating. So.
But the data said no.
So they were like, we think you have PCOS. They did their own workup, and then they wanted to test Matt's sperm too. So we were like, okay, but it felt really good to go in
and finally get an answer.
Yeah, and a plan. So I was like, okay, and they were like, we have all the options, and we can get you pregnant. We're gonna work together. We're gonna figure this out.
So did they
I felt really
change?
supported.
Well, yeah, and I feel like just getting an answer, because I know like my son had health issues as a toddler, and we went to a million different doctor's appointments, and they were like, oh, like, he's probably just picky, like, he doesn't eat much. I'm like, no, something's wrong. So it was like, finally, after so many months of appointments, when they finally said something was wrong, I was like, okay, thank God that, like, and now we can do something about it, instead of just continuing to not have answers and do the same thing and, like, ride the crazy train longer.
Well, and just to figure it out. And
right. Well, and the place that you were at is so confident in, because that's all they do.
Yeah, they were absolutely like, we're going to take care of it. So there was 2 options for us, or they gave us. So IUI is intrauterine insemination, where they basically track your ovulation, monitor, your follicles or eggs that are going to be released, and then take the man's sperm. They basically concentrate it, or they wash it, they call it, and keep only what you need. And then they basically, with like a long tube, put it exactly like at your cervix where it needs to go, so that your odds of getting pregnant are better.
Okay.
The odds of success with IUIs go up with like every subsequent IUI, but I want to say that they told us like for the first time, they're like, this is only like a 13% chance of working.
Okay.
And I can't remember what your odds are like as without any kind of fertility information.
Right.
What your odds are of getting pregnant every month. You could, like, Google it. But there's a percentage of, like, on average, women of your age get pregnant,
this
whatever percent.
Or, yeah.
So I did some research on my own.
IVI.
So we did
IUI.
Well, I did some research on my own, and I just I'm ovulating. I'm having periods. I'm ovulating. I'm releasing eggs, and it only takes 1 sperm. One. So when they're testing these sperm samples, they're only taking like a teeny tiny like little sample of it. We talked to the doctor, and I'm like, I'd like to try IUI. I feel like we've been pregnant. I think that it will work. It's not quite as invasive as IVF, because IVF, you are stimulating your body to make a bunch of eggs for an egg retrieval.
Right. Is that the hormones and stuff?
So yeah, so you're taking hormones, you're
probably feeling insane. Like, hormones in general.
Oh, it's insane. So yeah, okay. So we did 4 IUIs, and none of them worked. So, and that was stressful too. So it was, I was going into the office multiple times. They would do an ultrasound. They're checking my hormone levels. They're watching my eggs, or they call them follicles, because not every follicle is an egg. And so with PCOS, sometimes my follicles, they think were cysts. So even though I thought I was ovulating, my hormones were spiking, an egg wasn't actually releasing. And that's part of why I wasn't getting pregnant. It wasn't always an egg, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So they gave me medications to release, to help my body kind of make more and eggs. Release a couple of eggs, which that's why you hear like, oh, people who go to fertility, or infertility clinics or have infertility tend to have like multiple pregnancies.
Oh, right.
So,
because you're just dropping eggs.
Yeah. So I would go and I would have like 2 or 3 follicles, which we were hoping 1 good egg, 1 good sperm with the IUI. So we did that 4 times. It didn't work, and then we met with the doctor, and I wasn't sure I wanted to do IVF. I mean,
why?
Matt and I talked about it quite a bit. It's expensive. There's no guarantee that it works. So with IVF,
I feel like it's a higher guarantee.
There is. So your first like cycle of IVF, or maybe any random cycle of IVF, I want to say they told me that it was 60%, like 60% chance of getting pregnant.
The first time.
And then it goes up from there. So then, because your hormones are, you're regulating your hormones, your cycle more, they can tweak your medication protocol, depending on what went wrong the first time. Sometimes it's just the embryo, like just, that embryo, just that embryo wasn't going to take. So I just wasn't sure I wanted to do it. I just, at this point I had been so stressed, and obviously I really wanted a baby. Matt really wanted a big family. Like at this point, Matt wanted to have just this giant family, and we didn't know what was possible for us. There's no guarantee that IVF's even going to work. So you
had to go home and think about it.
So we had to go home and think about it. And I wasn't sure I wanted to do it. It was, again, all these hormones. I have to inject all these medications. You're tricking your body into making
you're just putting your body through so much.
Yes, and I felt like I had already been through so much. And I think if they had told me, like, yeah, guaranteed we're going to get you a baby, I think I would have hopped on the train really quickly. We talked to our doctor and a little bit more. I was kind of on the fence, but she basically looked at me and was like, if you think you're going to get to the point where you want to do IVF, you need to do it now, because your eggs are as young as they are now. They're as healthy as they are now. If you wait another 6 months, a year, 5 years, your
mental health is going to be worse.
My mental health, but your success rate tends to go down. Or again, I was cresting 35 at that point. I was like 33 or 34, and when you turn 35, just higher risk pregnancies, more risk for genetic anomalies.
Right.
So we went home, and I guess we were just like, well, let's try it. Let's see what happens.
It took one day.
Yeah, it basically took. Well, yeah, Matt wanted.
Well, you didn't have really any other options.
No, we didn't really know.
Did we postpone it, or did we just try?
And they said that there was a chance that we could conceive naturally on our own, but was that going to take a month, a year, 10 years, never?
Right. And you're like, we've been trying that.
Yeah. So we decided to do it, and all of this took time too. I think the other thing with IVF that people, like when I talk to people who are like starting this IVF journey, it's hurry up and wait. You get in, they do some initial testing.
Then you wait.
Or you try some things, and then then you have to get on the IVF calendar, and then you have to order your medications. And
so how long did you have to do like injections and all the stuff before you could do the actual
proceed, like get it implanted?
Implanting.
So I had to do some injections even with the IUI to like force ovulation.
Right.
So there's a medication to like do everything. So it was like a month of maybe not the whole month, but a month of injections of basically what they do is they trick your body into releasing as many eggs as possible.
Right.
So
are you like mentally crazy?
Yeah. Oh yeah. You're like, you look pregnant too because you're growing all these eggs. So I think when we did our egg retrieval, they retrieved like 40 plus eggs. Yeah. So you normally release one every cycle. So I was like bloated. I was miserable. I was probably insane.
You were like literally a chicken.
Yes.
Just like pumping eggs out.
Yes. And then I was probably doing like 3-4 injections every night too. And every night I feel like I'm like, hey, I can do this. I got this. So, and then I'm going to the office too. It's like a full-time job. I was in the office like multiple times a week. So they're doing ultrasounds to check how many eggs do we have? What size are they? Do we need to adjust your medications?
So they pulled 40 out.
Yeah. So I went in, they took 40 out. So at the same time, Matt was giving a sperm sample, and then they take the sperm and the eggs and they try to fertilize them.
Yeah.
So then after this, it was kind of like a stepwise process. So like every day we got results. So over the next couple of days, they called me and were like, okay, you started with 40 plus eggs. Of those eggs, like 30 of them fertilized. Of the 30 that fertilized, so every day, they had certain, there's certain criteria. And so, of those 30 that fertilized, so many, they have to grow a certain amount to be viable. So of all of them, we ended up with 19 embryos.
19?
So, yes. So
there's 19 Glahns
There's 19 Glahns on ice. But we didn't know if we were even going to get one.
Right.
So I was really miserable. They grew all these eggs and
you're like, now
we're
I
like
have
praying every night, like, please God, like let there be one healthy embryo. And they called me and we're like, yo, what do you want to do? We need to know what you want to do with all of these. And I was
pay for all of them?
So no, it was kind of like a one-time fee basically. And then so after we got these embryos, we had planned to have them genetically tested. We've gone through all this
hard
make
sure it was
we
healthy.
want to make sure we want to make sure they're perfect, especially if we're gonna implant them. So same thing, the genetics company had like a package. So I think it was like 8 embryos, or you could pay like one by one, and I was like, we only wanted to have one more baby. So I'm talking with the fertility clinic and I'm like, I don't know what to do. We have these 19 eggs, which was a dream, and we never thought we were gonna have that many. And that, we could go off. That also has there's moral distress with now having all of those eggs too, or embryos. But so we genetically tested 8, we decided, because again, there's no guarantee. There's only a 60% chance it's going to work. So we had those 8 tested, and of those 8, they were perfect. All
8?
So they called me and they're like, this is relatively unheard of. Like usually there's some type of genetic anomaly, or the embryos, something's going on. So
it's just so crazy now.
Why couldn't we get pregnant? But why couldn't we get pregnant?
Do you ever find out why?
No, they just call it like a secondary infertility.
I feel like it's crazy too, because I'm like looking at your baby, which I hope he wakes up.
Yeah,
he's like
perfect.
literally perfect.
He's
so cute.
He's perfect. So that's what that was like another thing. It was just so we went home
did you
and like,
keep
yes,
all
this was
8?
great. So we kept all of them because in other countries, like over in Europe, they don't really do genetic testing. Isn't like the gold standard. So we kept all 19. We genetically tested 8, 4 boys, 4 girls. Perfect.
Yeah.
And then we, we're moving forward with the process. So then it's like another. So
Did
now
you
you're
choose
waiting.
if you wanted a boy or a girl?
We didn't. We basically at this point, IVF was so like calculated that we just wanted a healthy baby. We knew we were going to pick they're graded like eggs that you buy at the store. So we had one that was significantly better, or higher graded than the other 8. So we decided no matter what, we were going to implant that embryo, boy or girl, because we wanted just
give us the best
success.
one.
Yeah, we wanted the highest rate of success. So we did not pick if it was a boy or a girl, and we were able to maintain that through the whole pregnancy. We thought it was a girl, and then they handed it to me. It's a boy.
Wait, so did you feel like the pregnancy was different at all?
No, it was so much different. Barrett was going to be 5, so they're almost 5 years apart. I couldn't remember. I don't know if you black it out or if you remember with your kids and your pregnancies, but
I feel like mine, I was like, I forgot about how much this sucked. Because mine were close together.
Yeah.
So it's like after you wait like a year or however long, you're like, you forget about some of it. And then as soon as you're pregnant again, I was like, oh, I forgot about this part.
And being pregnant, it's not my favorite.
No.
I felt like crap. I was sick a lot.
I'm not one of those people that's like, I love being pregnant.
Yes, no. I was not glowing.
I mean, it is like special to experience for sure. But like, I was not one of those people that was just like, I don't want it to end.
Yeah, no. I wanted it to very much end. So yeah, we we went through, the IVF process.
How long was the whole process?
The whole process, so we went into May. We did our retrieval in November. And then due to like Christmas and the holidays, my schedule got pushed a little bit. So we ended up doing our transfer in March. And by March, so my sister was pregnant at the same time. She was pregnant before me, but we ended up being like almost
one
at the
day
same
apart.
time. Well, we ended up having the kids one day apart, but Katie knew she was pregnant for like a month or however long before I knew, or that we knew that the IVF, that our transfer worked, because you're tricking your body into thinking it's already pregnant. They're putting an already made embryo. So Katie and I ended up being, even though she knew, she was pregnant much longer than I did. She was like, I remember her being like, wait a minute, you were at the same, we kind of like skipped that part. So lots of, again, injections and medications, and you're tricking your body into thinking it's already pregnant. So that is just a wild.
So it was really from like May till January.
May till March.
Or March, yeah.
May till March. Mm-hmm. And then it's hoping it works. So after they do the transfer, the embryo transfer, you then you're sort of in limbo for, I think, 12 days, and then you go in for a pregnancy test. I never felt good. Like, I never felt like, I was nervous I was going to miscarry. I was waiting for, like, the other shoe to drop. I was just so nervous. So during my 20-week ultrasound, though, they had flagged for a couple abnormalities that they thought he potentially had this horrible chromosomal disease.
What?
And so then so the doctor comes in and she said, well, what's going on? She's talking to me about it. And I said, no, we had these very expensive eggs, genetically tested. They're perfect. So I'm like, there's no way. So she told me that during the genetic cell sampling, the cells that they take from the IVF embryos, they're only taking a couple cells. They send those cells to be tested for genetics. Maybe the cells that they took from our embryo weren't representative of the whole embryo. So maybe this embryo, they call it a mosaic embryo. And so basically it has some abnormal chromosomes or chromosomal abnormalities.
Was there anything?
So I did additional genetic testing.
Of course, now you're just like freaking out.
It was devastating, because I'm like, here, we've been through this whole process. We did everything right. We picked this perfect embryo. It was genetically tested. And then here, comes this doctor like, well, actually, maybe not. So now, and I can't remember what disorder they thought that he had, but he wouldn't have survived it. So whether it was in pregnancy or after I had him. So now I'm like, oh my God, so now I'm devastated all over again.
Oh my God.
And it's hard not to think like the worst case scenario, like we've already been through it. So it's hard not to just think like the worst possible thing.
Right. And then you're like, now I have to go through heartbreak all over again at like such a worse level than I've ever experienced after already being heartbroken for like an entire year.
And we did everything right. And so we wouldn't have changed anything. Like we wouldn't have changed how we did the process or anything that we would have. There was nothing we could have done. We did everything right.
So wait, so how did they realize you did not have it?
So we did an extra genetic testing that came back negative. And some of the things that they saw, they kind of were like, well, let's wait and see. Sometimes these things resolve on their own. So I ended up at the end of our pregnancy having all sorts of extra monitoring. I was in the office all the time. Extra ultrasounds, fluid monitoring, everything. And everything he was measuring the right, correctly. I had extra growth scans. I had extra anatomy ultrasounds. He was developing correctly. But I remember going in and like, does he have 10 fingers and 10 toes? Is he healthy? How's his heart? There's...
and so nothing ever just developed?
Nope, everything was fine. Everything was fine. It was just like a weird fluke that they saw a couple things that resolved on their own.
You're like, thank you for making me absolutely freak out even more.
But yeah, so again, the whole pregnancy was just really stressful. And so that's what Matt, again, wanted this huge family. And I remember us sitting on the couch like, so do you think you want more kids? Do you think we'd do IVF again? And I mean, we looked at each other and we're like, it's been so stressful that I don't know, that we would do it. And, now I feel...
You're glad you did it, but you're like, I'm good.
Yes. Well, then we have 2 healthy kids now. I'm healthy. That's my next thing, is... I'm even reading all this stuff now. I told Matt I found a study the other day that said moms, when it's an IVF pregnancy, sometimes it's because they're older and they might already have...
or you've just hormoned the shit out of them.
Right.
So it's
and so you're taking all these medications. Yeah, well, how is that affecting the embryo and how is that going to affect you? I was really stressed about that because
you're like, I don't want to be stressed out about this anymore.
Well, and I don't want something to happen to me or happen to the baby. So I think, at this point, never say never. We're happy. We're healthy. I think that...
You're glad you did it.
I'm glad I did it, and it worked. I think we'd be having a totally different conversation if it failed or if it didn't work. I don't know. I think the only thing that is making me hold on is that we have girl embryos. So I have 2 boys now, and knowing that we have girl embryos and that we could potentially have a girl is sort of in the back of my mind.
But for right now, you're good.
Right now, we're good. Well, and there's no guarantee that it's going to work. We could do it again. It might not work. So there's...
We'll see.
Yeah, to be continued.
I guess what support systems or tools really helped you during the process?
So
Like, not even necessarily physically, but emotionally.
Emotionally, so again, the space was amazing. So I was doing hot yoga. I was able to continue that up until transfer. Because of the heat, they made me stop after we transferred, which I was devastated because I would have loved to have continued that through pregnancy if I could. But that was such a mental release or zen place for me, or it became like really just this like
therapeutic.
Yes, super therapeutic. But also our friends that had been through it, and it was just you don't know until you know. I remember texting a couple of our friends that have gone through infertility, had miscarriages, gone through IVF, and being like, I'm so sorry for anything that I said to you that might have been offensive. I meant it out of love.
Right.
But so many people tried to tell me things to like help, like, just be supportive, and I know it was out of love, but like and it wasn't always. So like at least you got pregnant, and it's like, yeah, but I couldn't stay pregnant, so like that it didn't help me.
Yeah, that doesn't. I literally had to grieve that.
Yes, and so there was, and people, it was all out of love, but like, I think you don't know what to say in those situations, and you're trying to be positive. But I remember reaching out to them and being like, I am so sorry for what I said and how I said it. I obviously meant it out of love, but I think that you just having somebody who knows this type of desperation.
And there's
that
so
was the
many.
biggest thing. Well, that was the biggest thing that helped me. It was just somebody like, I had friends checking in on me that like, how's the calendar going? How's your medications going? How are the injections going?
Like,
how are you feeling?
It's like as soon as you talk to someone who hasn't gone through it, you have to explain everything and they don't get it.
Yes.
Like, I don't know. And like, I'm like, I mean, I've heard some things.
Yeah. No, well, and I'm an open book, and like it doesn't.
But
bother
when you're
me.
going through it, you're like,
yeah.
okay, I don't want to explain this to every single person.
And just somebody who's
I'm
like
still
like
learning
to
too.
embrace the suck too, like trust the process. That was a big thing too. So yeah, really, finding something for you too, like exercise, yoga, whatever your thing is. So the space was my thing. Like, they did a lot of like breathing exercises, meditation. So a lot of that was really good for me too, just to go somewhere at the end of the class, the lights are dim and, I'm like deep breathing, like, okay, I've got this. I'm strong. I'm loved. My body was meant to do this. I can do this.
Yeah.
So
affirmations.
Yes. I could have probably written them down and said them, but yeah, I was like, I can do this. My body was meant to do this. My friends did this. They are successful. Millions of women do IVF, and they're older than me. They have other conditions than I don't have, and
I have a perfect embryo.
My embryos are perfect.
What was like one thing that you didn't expect during IVF?
So I think the process, I think that, I think when you hear IVF, what comes to my mind is like, oh, test tube baby. I had no idea how they actually did it. And just, you are constantly like waiting for the next step. And, certainly like I kind of mentioned, you sometimes will have setbacks, and you don't know what's going to happen. First of all, you don't know what's going to work, and you don't know what's going to happen. The whole thing is you're like on the edge of your seat. Is it going to work? What's going to happen next? And even being from a medical background, I don't understand like half of what they were doing are the hormone levels, even though they were within the normal range. They wanted them at a different range. So it just, it was such a specific science that you sort of just have to trust the process. You're at their mercy. Mm-hmm. You don't know that level of desperation until you're there. Like I'm in it. I'm going to do whatever the doctor says because they're the expert, and I'm going to trust the process. Yeah. If you're so deep in it that like if this is poison I'm injected in my body, I'm going to do it because it's going to work.
Right. And I'm already in so deep.
And I'm in, yes, you're in it.
Do you think there's any factors that increase the likelihood of infertility? Because like so many times they're like, well, don't take this, or like don't get this vaccine, or don't eat that, or it's like,
I do.
What is there studies that have done that?
I think like infertility in general, I am a big proponent of our food. I think that like our food in America and the pesticides and additives and food quality, I think there's a lot of external factors
that are making it, because I feel like this was it always this
right
common?
I honestly I was thinking about this before we met today. I have 7 close friends who have done like some type of fertility treatment, IVF. And I'm not talking about like someone's brother's mother's sister, like people in my everyday life. And why are we having such an issue? And then again, going back to my mom, who's 45 and like just spontaneously got pregnant, and what is it? And so especially
it's got to be some kind of environmental thing.
And then, in the male factor fertility too, especially, a lot of it can be environmental, not all of it, but smoking, drinking, testosterone levels. So many things I think can affect it. And
aren't girls getting periods when they're like
girls
really
young
younger?
And even our food, I was talking with one of our doctors about, you have boys, I have boys. There's they can't do studies yet because they're too young, but they're anticipating that by the time our boys are ready to have kids, kids, that there's going to be a huge wave of infertility because of the foods, the pesticides, the chemicals, that the plastics. I mean, you can see now social plastic is huge on social media right now. All the microplastics in our food, and that, I mean, I just read a study about the microplastics that are in like men's testicles. Like, so I don't even know how
what?
you use, yeah. I just read a study about microplastics and infertility, and so they went in to look at what's going on with like is it the anatomy is it.
Why is there plastic in your nuts?
Why is there plastic? Yeah, I feel like I can't, my brain is mush now. But like, yeah, but they're finding like microplastics that are embedded in your body. They're staying there, these forever chemicals.
What are these things. When you're reading the ingredients and something, what is the microplastic?
So microplastics are coming from just like everyday things, that like water bottles, cutting on a plastic cutting board. So like you're cutting on a plastic cutting board, you're releasing some of like the teeny tiny particles of plastic that are then like going into your food, and you're eating them, and they're staying in your body. You're not like eliminating them. So, and that's causing different hormonal issues for men and for women. It's causing, again, so if there's microplastics accumulating, again, in men's testicle, that, is limiting
the health.
The health and sperm quality. And but yeah, I definitely think it's food. I know even with Matt, when we were going through IVF, you've got to stop drinking, stop smoking, start working out, not necessarily to like lose weight and be fit, but to increase your testosterone levels and your hormone levels. So I do think that environmental factors play a huge role. They attribute to why we got pregnant with Barrett so easily to our like diet, lifestyle. At
you were healthier?
Time, I was super healthy. I was probably in the best shape of my life. I was doing Pure Barre multiple times a week. I was spinning 4 or 5 times a week. We pretty much ate Whole30. We lived on the lake, so on the weekends we raged. We like drank and ate pizza, and it was wild. But during the week,
you were pretty regular. So did the fertility lady tell you like, hey, these are things that increase your likelihood of infertility? So she thought diet.
Obviously
like diet, health in general.
Yeah,
if you're mega obese and eat McDonald's every day and smoke cigs like a freaking chimney, like obviously like.
And
that's
anything
obvious.
that like, so hormone disruptors, like, it's again like part back to like the environmental factors. So like different like the forever chemicals, or
wait, what?
I feel like that are in like plastics or metals, like the like cookware, the nonstick cookware. Or air fryers, like those nonstick coatings have the PFAS chemicals in them that like your body doesn't clear. So anything that you're cooking your food in is staying in your food. You're eating it. Those chemicals are staying in your body. They're disrupting your hormones.
God, it's such a game, because you're like, if I even grow my food, then I'm cooking it in something that's bad. What kind of pans do you have? Will you send me a link?
Exactly. Yes.
Because I feel like mine, I'm always like, these are bad.
Stainless steel.
Do they wash good? I don't want to scrub the shit out of it.
You have to like learn how to use them. Stainless steel. You have to like heat the pan before you put anything in it. So there's a way to use it, but glass, stainless steel. But the problem now, and that's what Matt, he's like, our parents didn't have these issues. Why are we having this issue? Why can't we get pregnant? I think it's the food. It's all these things that are different. Our parents weren't eating all these pesticides and chemicals, and food wasn't cooked or made, they used, there was just less, everything was simpler.
Right. Less, and more natural. I feel like everybody's like, oh, like vaccines are making people like, I have no idea. Yeah,
vaccines.
I'm not trying to get pregnant, so I don't know.
It's hard to say, and I think this is a slippery slope, because
it's easy. Everybody just wants to blame something.
Yeah, and it's in I obviously I work in healthcare. I believe in medicine. I believe in science, but I do think that. I don't think it's black and white. I think that, a lot of medicine is black and white.
And I also think that it's hard to put a balloon solution on people when everybody's body reacts differently.
Yes.
So, like, you could get a vaccine, say,
and be totally fine.
Be fine. And if I get it and then I all of a sudden contract some illness.
Yes,
you know what
and
I'm
your
saying?
genetics, I think genetics play a role too. Like, everybody's genetics. And then when you're mixing it with these chemicals or vaccines or whatever, maybe
medications, vaccines, food, whatever it is, like everybody's body is different.
Yes.
So something could affect yours horribly and not affect me at all.
Yes. No, I totally agree. And well, even Matt, like for a while, obviously, buying organic is expensive, and he used to like tease me, and we don't need this, we don't need that. And I so believe that our food contributes to
so much.
Everything.
Who knows?
I think, again, like you said, I think it's a lot of factors play a role. And even IVF, sometimes it's, if people know they have certain genetic diseases, they do IVF to eliminate.
Oh my God, I just got stung or something. Or something bite me?
You were very calm though. Like, holy shit.
What?
Let me look. Where?
Like right here in the between my back.
It is a little red. Yeah.
Oh my God, I can feel it. It's like stinging now.
Oh, do you want like an ice? Do you want some
No,
ice?
it's fine.
Let me just get stung by a bee.
Yeah. Wait, so what are the weird like conspiracies?
So, yeah, these are I'm like losing sleep at night. So, I'm nervous that, like, what if my embryos, somebody, like, takes my embryos or steals them or
How do you
sells
know
them
where
on
they
the black
are?
market. So right now they're here at the IVF clinic, but after, so it's called short-term storage. They will, after a year, go to long-term storage, which I think is somewhere out of state, and we aren't there yet. But yeah, what if somebody, like, you know, steals the embryos or takes them or
Labels them wrong?
Yeah, labels them wrong. Or again, Elon Musk is making these pregnancy robots, you know, and he wants to, like, populate the planet.
What?
I'll Google it. So, but
It's like AI babies?
like AI babies. I don't. Yeah. You have to Google it.
Do they behave?
Right. Yeah. Right. They're like, it's like
Anthony's
a robot.
like, we should have a kid. I'm like, can we just get one of those?
Get one. So, but my embryos, again, we had this perfect baby. And yeah, I'm like, what if they, like, yeah, somehow ended up in the wrong hands, and
he
then
does
he's
like 24.
growing.
What is it called? 23andMe.
Yeah,
When he gets
right.
older,
Like,
and he's like, "There's
wait a
19 of my
minute.
siblings." Like, Mom,
Literally
where have you
out there. Yeah. When you're done with IVF, you know, you can decide to, you can donate your embryos to science, you can donate your embryos to another family. Well, and I don't know what we'll do, but not knowing, I have a lot of, like, moral distress. If I knew, you know, I just feel like I don't trust people, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it is kind of like open-ended.
Or what if I donate them all to science, and then that whoever, you know, embryologist or scientist, like, smuggles them out and then sells them, and then my perfect babies are, like, sold into slavery, or I'm losing sleep. I'm losing sleep about it, and it's not something that after, when you have a baby, like when I had Barrett, like you've had your one baby, you had your one egg. There's no second thought about it.
Like, yeah, there's not like another ridge somewhere.
Yes, and maybe if we had less embryos, but I mean, 19 embryos.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's like an army. That's a football team.
And we would never have them.
You
many
got a full
kids.
football team.
I know.
Well, thank you so much for just having the courage to share your story and educate me on this, because I know so many people who are going through it, and it sounds devastating and so frustrating and stressful. And I mean, I've never lived that. So I'm glad that you really cleared a lot of that up for me and have been a voice for so many couples and women who are going through it right now. So thank you so much for sharing your story. Your babies are so adorable.
Thank you. And yeah, absolutely. I'm an open book. I definitely think that, like, we're in this together.
Well, thank you for being so open and answering all the questions, telling us the story of it, and really just, I guess, educating us on the options and the best ways to go about it, because I think that's super important for people to hear, even if they're young and they're not even thinking infertility is on in their cards, you know.
Right. I definitely think you know, go get checked out. You know, if you're thinking that this is you and it's been a while, or you're not sure. I mean, you don't have to do IVF. You don't have to do IUI. You could go get checked out and come up with, you know, another type of game plan. But then, you know, you have all the answers. You know what's going on. You know, you're not sitting there wasting time. Go get checked out and go to a specialist.
A specialist for sure. Any woman that's listening to this right now who's going through that, what is one thing you want to tell her to just encourage her to stick it out and just, it's going to be better?
So
it's worth it.
Really just to stay the course and trust the process and take it day by day, minute by minute, month by month. Just because you're having a bad month, or you know, things didn't quite go your way this month, or you got a negative pregnancy this month, doesn't mean that next month, you know, you're the end of your cycle is the beginning of a new one. And so, you know, you will get there, you will hold that baby. It's not if you get pregnant, it's when you get pregnant. And it might not be the way that you thought it was going to go. But there's lots of options, and they're becoming more and more available. And
stick it out.
Stick it out. Yeah,
it's
stick it out. Yeah, it's worth it. And
I
somebody you know is going through it. So talk to your girlfriends, talk to your friends. Somebody you know is going through it. And if they're not, then someone you know will go through it. And then you're going to be
on the other side.
Yeah, you're going to be there.
I think it's crazy too, because you were so like frustrated on the timeline of it, which I would have been also. But then you never could have predicted that, like, you would be in the hospital while your sister was having a baby.
Oh, I know. And their age gap is perfect. They're almost 5 years apart. They're perfect. Barrett loves the baby so much. What was such a stressor for me ended up being great. I can't imagine having them closer in age now. They're perfect.
Right. And now he has a cousin that's like 1 day older than him.
Yes, yeah. And they were 1 day, the babies were 1 day apart, which has been super fun.
They're both boys, and you guys were like at the hospital together, weren't you?
Yes, yeah. We were 1 day apart. I really thought we were going to be able to, like, hang out a little bit. Like, you know, when after you have a baby, I mean, like, obviously you're exhausted. Yeah. And you've got this new baby that you're trying to figure out what to do with.
Let's be struggling together.
But yeah, I really thought, like, we were going to at least be able to, like, grab dinner, or, like, have dinner delivered and, like, eat, like, as like two happy little families. But no, Katie and I, like, texted from down the hall, like, just, like, play-by-plays. And they did wheel down and say hi on their way out.
But it's hard, too, because you're like, I'm literally naked the whole time.
Yeah,
like, sitting on ice and, like, getting milked by everybody in this freaking hospital.
And, 100 people are coming in all hours of the day. So, but it was nice just having someone, like, that just went through it freshly, too. So Katie's really good at making all of the baby food.
Wait,
Have you
okay,
seen her
she's
stuff?
been sending me the baby food, and I'm like, can I come eat at your house?
Yeah,
Like,
so-
this baby's eating way better than me.
So Bodhi gets he gets the benefit of Katie's, like, she's making fresh beef, bone marrow, purees, and so we're like reaping the benefits of all of Katie's really great creative cooking.
That's amazing.
So again, it all worked out for us perfectly, and I definitely, I mean, I would do it again, as it wasn't like the worst thing I've ever experienced, but it was definitely like a full-time job, and but yeah, again, bottom line, it worked. So
It worked. It was worth it. You have
Yeah.
a super cute baby.
well, thanks.
Yeah. Thanks for giving us the answers. And everybody who's going through it, just stick it out. It'll be worth it. You're not alone.
You're not alone. Stay the course, day by day, if you have to.
I hope you enjoyed this episode and you feel a little bit less alone in this situation. And even if you're someone that's not struggling with infertility, but you want to be able to better support somebody that has, so this will give you a little insight on how you can better support them. Please share this with anybody that would benefit from listening to this conversation. And I did put in the show notes some resources for infertility specialists. And you can follow Jessica on Instagram at JA Again, please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, leave a 5-star review. All of this helps us get the word out to new audiences. I have had so much fun with all these conversations, and we will see you next week.